G'day ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Bitcoin update. I was actually contemplating not making a video today, but I thought I'd give you guys a quick update on the situation regardless of how short the video may be. So before we get into it, I want to quickly say the kind of campaign thingy we got going on with the BitGet exchange ends on the 24th, which is tomorrow. So that means you've got about 24 hours remaining to get 15 USDT and 15 BGB transferred into your BitGet account simply by signing up using my referral link and making your first trade on the exchange. So do that. 24 hours left for free money there. Go ahead and get onto that using the pinned comment description. I've got my referral link set up there for you. But let's dive straight into the analysis for Bitcoin. Essentially, Bitcoin has broken down from the critical triangle formation we looked at the other day. Now, this triangle formation, I'll show you right now, delete the bottom line, was essentially this one right here. So we had a pink triangle formation. We broke down from that triangle formation. We actually came back up and rejected from the bottom side of a triangle and rejecting from it currently. So we're seeing right now a resistance support flip from that critical triangle formation, which is very good, very bad to see, I should say. Very good for the bears, of course, not for the bulls. Essentially what a resistance support flip is, it's basically when you break down from a charting formation, you come back up and you test and reject from the bottom side, which was previously support. You're hence confirming that previous support as a resistance zone, hence the name, resistance support flip or support resistance flip. So currently what we're expecting on Bitcoin is to trend downwards to the bottom of the newly founded triangle. I know it's getting a bit of a cluster right now, but that's just how it is. Unfortunately, we've gone straight into another pattern. So we've broken down from that triangle formation, right? And we've come straight up and we've formed what could certainly be a new triangle formation in the sense that we formed a low over here and a low over here, and depending on where we go, we could actually test that for a low, and that could be a new triangle formation. So I wouldn't actually say this triangle formation breakdown has made any real progress on Bitcoin whatsoever. It's just given the illusion of progress. So ultimately Bitcoin is in the same position. Ultimately this is still a no trade zone, and the reason I say that is because if you look at the order books on Bitcoin, they're heavily stacked to the upside. What this means is that we could very well see a liquidation wick to the upside. We could see Bitcoin pump to the upside very briefly and then come back down. So although in this price region, given the fact that we're at the top of a range resistance, right? The range being between, around 15K and 25.2K. Given the fact that we're at the top of that range resistance, given the fact we're facing fierce resistance from a 200-week SMA and the 50-week SMA, and we're at the top of the range, you would be, in a logical position to take shorts. But again, the only problem with that is that the order books are stacked to the upside. So we're at pretty big risk of liquidation wick, a scam wick. And so taking shorts is pretty much just as dumb as taking longs, right? I don't think any position is worth taking here. And I stand by that until we break down really below 23.8K, which is the bottom of this red box. But more specifically now, this triangle as well. And even more specifically, we could even be waiting for a breakdown below this yellow line. I really don't think any of this price region is very much a healthy place to take shorts or longs. It just looks very ugly from a charting perspective, and this is what happens when you're overbought, right? Because I'd say Bitcoin is overbought. The problem is this, okay, and this is something that someone was kind enough to share in the Wolves of Crypto discussion group on Telegram, which you can join for free. The problem is this, we're overbought right now by metrics of TA, but, in previous cycles, and we know we've seen a cyclical bottom, we know the bottom is in now, well, it's not fully confirmed in the charts, but I personally, as a believer in the 4-year cycle, I know that the bottom is in, I believe the bottom is in. We've seen these dramatic pumps to the upside before, just after the bottom has occurred. TA does get ignored. This is one part of the cycle you see just after the bottom where TA does kind of get a little bit ignored. It's not that it gets ignored. It's a short-term TA gets ignored, not the longer-term TA. The long-term TA is very sound. And so, realistically, Bitcoin being overbought and Bitcoin being overbought for the last 2 months or month and a half hasn't really mattered. It doesn't matter if it's overbought. It can still certainly go up. But, as of right now, I stand by what I said the other day. I do lean more bearish and short term. You simply can't be bullish when we're at such strong resistance. And, the only justification for being bullish right now is like, oh, well, in previous bear markets after the bottom, we go up massively, so we could do it again. And, I'm not a big fan of blind speculation. You know me, I don't believe in blind speculation. I believe that we're in a range. I believe we're at the top of the range. I believe we're at fierce resistance, and there's not really much else to say than that. We've even got something like a Wyckoff accumulation pattern playing out, in which we could be at this part that I'm circling right now, which means we could be going downwards from here and even forming a new low. Now, I strongly disagree with that. I don't think we're going to be seeing a new low, but I'm just saying there are bearish arguments to be made still. So we're not out of the woodwork yet. We're not out of the woods, I should say, yet. It's completely, illogical to say that, the bottom's completely confirmed, It's just simply not true. Again, I believe wholeheartedly that the bottom is in. I'm very confident in the fact that the bottom is in, and I'm confident in the fact that the bottom is in because of the 4-year cycle. And quite simply, I don't believe we should be discounting the strongest trend in Bitcoin's history simply because the charts are bearish in the short term. I don't think that's how it works. I think if you're looking at this chart and you're saying, it's bearish, we're going to see new lows, and you take away the argument about the traditional markets, which we've debunked multiple times in the channel, you're kind of being a little bit biased. You can't look at a 63% move to the upside and understand that, hey, we could be seeing a 10-15% correction from here and think, we're going to 10K. It just doesn't work like that, right? So I'm short-term probably leaning towards more bearish, but longer-term, I'm certainly bullish. I certainly believe the 4-year cycle is playing out, and I believe in a mid-30K Bitcoin, maybe even higher by the end of 2023, but generally mid-30Ks is what I'm looking at. If we want to dive into that claim a little bit deeper, I can do that right now, but I'll do this a bit more tomorrow because that's kind of what the topic of tomorrow's video is going to be, about long-term projections. But just looking at Bitcoin, in the 12 months after the bottom. So these measurements are taken 12 months after the Bitcoin bottom. We've seen a 200% gain 12 months after the bottom in 2015, a 319% gain in 2019. So say, for example, we do 200% again, okay? And take into account diminishing returns doesn't count here because we saw a bigger return in 2019 than 2015. So say we do a conservative 200% gain from 12 months past the bottom. So we bottomed out in November, and then we're measuring that to November this year, and we did a 200% gain. We would be in that conservative measurement. We would be up there at 46K by the end of the year. Let's say we're even more conservative than that. Let's say we're full conservative. Traditional markets, everything's bad, and Bitcoin's not going to get much strength and diminishing returns. Let's even half that. Let's say we see 100% gain, right, in that 12-month period. We bottomed out at 15.4K. Even if we halved what we saw in 2015, which was almost half of what we saw in 2019, we'd still be just about at 30K, right? So I think it's very much worth noting that, the year after the bottom is typically quite a bullish year. Okay, that's generally what happens. And so we're in that year right now, and given the fact that the 4-year cycle has not failed yet, it's a 12-year trend based on 6 micro trends based on the presidential cycle theory, Bitcoin being strongly correlated, reverse correlated for DXY, not the traditional markets, not the S&P, not the NASDAQ, Bitcoin being very much fundamentally like gold, which holds up well during recessions. When you take all of this into account, you can start to realize that, hey, the fact that the S&P might go down a bit more, it doesn't really affect Bitcoin that much. Yeah, it affects Bitcoin. Yeah, we might not go up as much as we would otherwise, but it doesn't necessarily mean Bitcoin is just seeing new lows. And I think all of the indications really point to Bitcoin bottoming out, being bottomed out and seeing a quite a bullish 2023 in which we end the year somewhere, potentially mid 30K region, maybe higher, but I'm going to say mid 30Ks for the sake of conservatism. So that's my overall opinion on Bitcoin. Leaning slightly more bearish right now. I don't think you should be taking longs, but that's my short-term opinion. I think that longer term, we don't look too bad. And overall, this is still a no trade zone. Still just boring same old stuff here. Not much has happened in the last few days. I will say that we're seeing basically a head formation here, potentially go downwards further. Again, it's hard to be certain with this kind of price action. Unfortunately, I wish I could give you more clarity. I simply can't at this point in time. But yeah. Check out the Crypto Academy if you want to learn how to trade. Become a Trader 10-unit course, a university format made by myself and Mego Crypto last year. We've got about 80, 90 students in there now, so go ahead and be one of them and learn how to trade, learn how to analyze charts. BitGet Exchange, referral link in the pinned comment description, and obviously the VIP channel if you want to trade altcoins with the VIP group. Got about 100 members in there now trading altcoins sub daily, making mad money in there, big profits, and you can check the trading history to confirm that claim there. So go ahead and check that out as well. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you tomorrow.